Lib Dem spokesman Paul Kohler.
Thank you to the Honourable Member for Reading Central for securing this important debate, and thank you, Mr Vickers. It is a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship. Despite some genuine issues, it is clear the Elizabeth Line has been a tremendous success. It was an engineering marvel, one of the biggest infrastructure projects in Europe. Crossrail dug out 42 kilometres of new tunnels under the centre of one of the biggest cities in Europe, weaving around existing underground tunnels, cable ducts, gas pipes and other utilities. And what has been the result? Economic growth and revitalised communities along the length of the line. Since opening, 60% of employment growth in Greater London is within 1 kilometre of an Elizabeth Line station, as the member for Dartford described. The line has increased the capacity of London Underground by 10%, which is why passenger numbers on the Underground have bucked the national trend by recovering to post-pandemic levels. Such success shows what happens when we are ambitious and invest in rail. It's not just in London where the impact has been felt. Towns in Essex and Berkshire, as we've heard, now have direct links to central London and Heathrow, promoting investment and creating new opportunities from Reading to Romford. The construction of the Elizabeth Line has also increased employment across the country. Crossrail awarded 62% of its contracts to firms outside of London, creating 55,000 new jobs, 1,000 apprenticeships, and helped keep rolling stock manufacturing in Derby, as so articulately described by the member for Derby North. Whilst the Elizabeth Line shows the best of what transport infrastructure can do, it also shows some of the pitfalls. Management issues led to overspending and delays, something we have sadly become all too accustomed to with infrastructure projects in this country. In 2010, the project was forecast to cost £14.8 billion. By the end, this had ballooned to £18.8 billion. Clearly not in the same league as HS2, but still representing a 28% overspend. At a time when public finances are tight, this is simply not acceptable. Like many rail projects, Crossrail also showed a flexibility to deadlines that would make even those laid back of my former students blush. I appreciate rail passengers in this country have become all too accustomed to delays, but waiting 3.5 years for a train really is pushing it. As we embark on new infrastructure projects, it is vital that we understand what caused these delays and cost overruns and learn lessons for the future. In March this year, the Department for Transport and the Infrastructure and Projects Authority published their joint report into the lessons learned from Crossrail. The new government must take heed of the recommendations to avoid another HS2. With talk of greater devolution and new public-private partnerships, the government must take particular note of what it says about the issues that arise in joint sponsorship of projects. Making sure we get this right will be vital to ensuring we build the infrastructure our country needs in the years to come. The ongoing saga of HS2 has undermined public confidence in the UK's ability to successfully complete infrastructure projects. If we are to get the full benefits of development, we must rebuild public trust and show that lessons have been learnt, not just in transport, but for all infrastructure projects. With many of our current lines at maximum capacity, we desperately need investment in our rail network to encourage rail freight, improve consumer choice and push forward the transition to net zero. We also need to replace existing infrastructure that has reached the end of its useful life. The district line into my constituency of Wimbledon is notorious for breakdowns, cancellations and delays and urgently needs investment. But the key lesson from Crossrail is that when we invest and put spades in the ground, the impact can be transformative. Disappointingly, however, it does not appear to have been fully learnt by the current government, although I suspect the Minister agrees with me. As I said in the Chamber last week, if this government is serious about economic growth, why did the Chancellor cut the transport budget? Transport should be the engine of our economy. After years of neglect by the Conservative government, the time has come to make the targeted investment that will make a difference to people's lives. Yes, costs must be controlled, as what happened in respect of HS2, as the Secretary of State considered in the Chamber yesterday, is unacceptable. But if we are to get this country moving again, we must learn from the Elizabeth Line, give the transport network the infrastructure it needs. Thank you.